Hi, welcome to Rate My Gadget, and you're probably watching this because you're trying to set up either ARC or eARC through your amp in your TV and you're having issues. So let me show you the most likely causes of the problems you're having. So first things first, really simply, what is ARC? So ARC is Audio Return Channel, and what that means is it's a really useful functionality that's come out recently, especially with TVs and with things like sound bars and audio visual equipment. What it means is that the HDMI that's plugged into your TV, if it's plugged in, and this is rule number one, if it's plugged into what's called ARC or eARC, then that sound can then be transferred into, say, a sound bar or into an AV amp through a HDMI cable. Okay, now, reason that's useful is that rather than relying on the sound from the television, which might be very basic, if you've got quite an expensive setup, such as, surround sound speakers with an amp, you want to be able to watch, let's say, Netflix or Amazon Prime through your television, and you want to be able to send that signal into your audio video receiver, and they may be in separate places. Okay, that's ARC. Okay, and if you're watching this video, you probably knew that already, so apologies. Here are my tips for getting ARC working. First tip, and I've already said it, is make sure that the output from the TV or the HDMI and the HDMI you're plugging it into both support ARC. Okay, now to be honest, once it comes out of your TV, putting it into your audiovisual equipment isn't usually a problem. So make sure on your TV you know through your user guide which one is the ARC. Okay. Second trick or tip is make sure that if you've bought a HDMI lead, it supports ARC. So some do and some don't. The other thing as well is to make sure is that if it's bi-directional or one-directional, so in some instances, the sound being sent from the TV may only go from connector 1 to connector 2. So you need to make sure that they're in, the right configuration. The lead that I use, and I've put a link to it, it is only one direction. So it does mean that it transfers it only in one direction. So you need to make sure that the lead is going in the right direction. Third, so I'm going to split these two into your TV and into your audiovisual equipment. Okay, so TV, this is a Samsung frame. And if you've got a Samsung, it should be very similar in terms of the setting menu. If not, then what you're looking for is the area where it says ARC. Okay, so you're looking for, if you've got a Samsung, it will be under sound and it will be under sound output, and then you're going to expert settings. And what you're looking for is this HDMI eARC mode. Now what that means is that you need to either turn it on or to auto. Okay, and what that means is that once you've turned it on, it'll allow the sound from the TV to go out to the receiver. Now that's the easy bit. The TV is the easy bit. So you should be able to find this functionality called HDMI eARC. The way you can tell if it's working, and this is on Samsung's but usually on most other manufacturers as well, is when you push the volume up and down, it might say ARC, something like that. You'll also notice that you may not, if it's not working, be able to hear the volume, and that's probably what you hear as well. Okay, so if you've got a Bluetooth speaker, you're probably not having many issues, because once you put that eARC on, plug it into the Bluetooth speaker or into a single speaker with a HDMI in, it should automatically work. Okay, the problem comes when you've got an AV amp, like I have, where you need to know which HDMI it's going into, and in some cases it can get even more complicated, in which you might have to have the selector selected to the ARC option. Okay, so make sure the lead is plugged into your amp at what's called ARC. This is the kind of amp that you may have. I've got on Marantz. Obviously, if you've got a Denon or something different, or Yamaha or whatever, all very similar. But what you're looking for is in the amp itself, the selector to be able to say TV audio. Now, if I turn this selector around to a tuner, or to media player or whatever, aux2, you don't want any of them. You want it to be able to say that it's taking TV audio. Okay, so it's taking the TV audio in. The other thing that you might find, and this is definitely true on the Marantzes, is if you go to the setup menu, you need to sometimes turn that TV audio channel and the ARC on, okay? So what you'll need to do is you'll need to go into your setup on your amp, and there's no real point in me showing you this because it differs for many amps, but you need to look up how to turn on the TV. It'll either be TV audio or ARC mode or something like that. Now in some amps you need to turn that function on. Okay, now so if I was summarising the 4 things you need to do: first of all, you need to check that you've plugged both cables into what's called ARC. Second of all, you need to check that the cable itself supports ARC and is bidirectional or one directional. In other words, it can transmit the sound from the TV into the unit. Third one is on the TV itself, make sure that ARC mode is put to auto or on. And then the fourth is on the amp itself, make sure that the setting that you have is set to TV audio or ARC mode, and that in the menu you can turn that on. Okay, hope this helped. Please do like, please subscribe, please comment as well, because I'm willing to support. I didn't want to do a long, complicated, confusing video about the Marantz app, setting it up with a Samsung TV, if that is not specific to most people out there. But I thought I'd put out this quick kind of guide. All right, thanks.